All right. So, man, there's still, it's still lingering. It's still there. Oh, right in the feels, man. Right in the feels every time. Every time. It's still too raw. Too raw to go into these details. I can't. But I'll try. I'll try. Let's um let's take this in a chronological order, starting with the opening, which was the first thing that we saw. All right, so we have Ruby walking on her own. The wind blows, she turns around, and boom, there's the remains of Team Juniper. And then they go out together. So that basically tells me what we're seeing, that they're forming either Team Junior or Team Ranger. um, and then from that, we move on to the next point, which is, well, actually, before that, the colors and the directions that they take. White goes north, um, yellow goes up west, and then kind of like back east, and it goes and it settles. It clearly settled in patch. Um, red goes east and travels towards the kingdom of Minstrel. I believe it was that one that's there. And black goes southeast, and I don't I don't remember if they talked about that place. Hmm. Hmm. I don't. Wait a moment. Okay, they did talk about it. I remember something very vague, very, very vague, but I just can't quite remember what was said. But remembering back in volume one or volume two, it was volume one because they're still in school. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was the binoculars episode. I think, I think, uh, Doctor Professor Ooblik had a map, and he talks about that one particular southeastern continent, but I don't remember. I can't remember the dialogue of what he said. I know that they talked about that the general attacked the faunus at night, but since they had binoculars, then the faunus won, and then Cardinal Winchester he he tried, you know, degrading the faunus by saying that, what did he say? He said something that made Pyrrha upset, and then Pyrrha, yeah, Pyrrha said, "I have the answer." I remember these parts, but I don't remember what they were talking about. This continent in the down in the southeastern place. So it has been mentioned. I'm having a hard time processing what was said, but it was somewhere in there. Um, so that happened. Um, so Black goes to this southeastern continent. All right, so White. So basically, everybody kind of like split up. they all went. They all went in a separate direction. Um, so that happened in the opening. Um, that might give us an idea of what to expect in the coming volume. Um, what else? What else? What else? What else? Ruby, Team Juniper. Um, and then we see fight scenes. We have fight scenes once again. In the fight scenes, we have Ruby versus the Psycho, which, okay, it's coming together. Because in the previous episode, Salem told, I forgot his name, an eye for an eye, told that guy that to stop the search for the spring maiden and start looking for the silver-eyed girl and bring her to Salem. So it would appear that there's going to be a showdown between Psycho Guy and Ruby because they were fighting. Also, there appears to be a showdown between Blake and Adam, in which, just from what it showed us, in which right near the end of the fight, Blake seems distressed. She's like, ah, right. So that's slight cause for concern. Um, and then we saw Yang, which I mentioned previously, that she's kind of like sparring with her dad, and then she's like tormented by herself, and then she falls, and it's like a nightmare scenario of Adam in the background, and we see the kung fu faunas come in, and then Weiss, she's having her own internal struggle because she's like, ah, and she has her glyph behind her, and then she opens a big one up in the ground. So that might be hinting at the fact that maybe she's gonna start progress moving into or not moving but making progress in her ability to bring forth the armor. um so that's that, and that's where all the characters are. No, that was the fight scenes. Yeah, okay, and the fight, okay, let's split this into two categories. The fight scenes are Ruby against the Psycho, Yang against herself. Um, did Weiss have a fight scene? Oh, hold on. I don't know if she did, but Blake was fighting against Adam. Weiss. Oh, I can't picture Weiss. Gray area. I'll pay attention in the next one if Weiss was fighting against something or someone. Um, so that was one category of the fighting. Location wise, yeah, Blake is on top of the not it's not the bow. The bow is the front of the boat, but that stick thing that pops out in front of the boat. Uh, my seamanship classes are fading out, but she's standing there, and then son comes and hugs her, and then what I'm guessing is her dad comes and kind of like, hey, get away from my daughter. And then the whole family comes around, which is just I can't tell if that's the mom or a sister, but it could be either one. So the mom or the sister comes, and then she's like happy, but then she's like, like she remembers, and she gets concerned about that. Um, what else? What else? What else? What else? Yeah, we see the villains on top of Mountain Terror because they're all like staggered on top, and on the peak of Mountain Terror, we have Salem with her glowing red eyes, glow even brighter. Um, so these are things that are being presented to us that I feel might have some sort of importance um, coming up in the series of Volume 4. Now, is there anything else? Anything that I might have forgotten in the opening? Going once, going twice? No. All right, so moving on. Our team gets to the town of name I forgot. my weakness, I'm sorry. It's the names. So the town where John and his family would go visit, and there was a lot of activities to do. But apparently it was overrun by what the person that was dying said, a tribe of bandits, if I'm not mistaken. The whole tribe of them. Bandits. So I'm guessing. So they came to ransack the town. And in the chaos, it brought forth Grim, which kind of like completely finished off the town. Terrible stuff. And apparently no survivors. But one thing that was interesting was whatever, what was that? Footprint, a trail, a track, or whatever it was in the dirt. It almost seems as if Ren and Nora might know what it is because they kind of like shared a knowing glance at each other. Because at first Ren saw it and his demeanor kind of like changed, and then Nora came up and she saw it, and then kind of like they shared a knowing glance. I don't know if you know, but when you know something and you know that the other person knows it too, and you kind of like look at each other for confirmation that you both know what you each other know. That's the vibe I got from that particular scene. Whatever footprint that was, whatever track or trail. For starters, it looks like it's a very big creature because it was the if that's just one of the feet, it's ginormous. It's almost the size of a human body, more or less. Maybe a little bit less than a human body. But whatever it is, it's huge. So if that's the size of the foot, then it must be almost maybe as tall as the Geist as far as size goes. I would say around there. Maybe as tall as the possessed Geist that we saw. And it seems that Ren and Nora, they both might have an idea of what kind of grim this is, because they kind of like shared that knowing glance. And then we switch and we go. Okay, and Ruby's have forgot. Ruby's having dreams. I'm guessing in the final moments of Pyrrha, she's having dreams, and because it the first section was the conversation that they had, or that Pyrrha had with Cinder, because it was the question. This is like the final conversations. Do you believe in destiny? And then she said, I do. Um, and then she wakes up. So it was those final moments when Ruby rushed up into the tower and saw Pyrrha. So, so she's having nightmares because of this. It really affected her in a way. But then later on that night, she wakes up with Pyrrha calling out to John. John, John. Yeah, so she wakes up to Pyrrha calling out to John. I don't remember these voice lines taking place in the end of Volume 3, but I remember more John crying out to Pyrrha and telling Weiss and Ruby to save her. But I don't remember Pyrrha calling out to John, as in for help. So that raises questions, and it raises thoughts in which perhaps I don't want to say that her spirit is still lingering here, but it makes me feel as if I don't know how to express it. Maybe it's Ruby's mental state creating this scenario of her calling out to John. Maybe she heard the video recording in which Pyrrha was talking, but in that recording she's not really saying John, John, John. She's she's more like giving instructions. Okay, John, let's begin. Shield up, you know. So I don't know if the sound travels into the dreamscape, because I don't know. Okay, let me explain some incidents that I've had in my life personally. When I was young, I don't know why I picked out of all the incidents, I picked this one. Let me pick another one. Um, have you ever had a dream? I'm gonna tell you mine with this one. I'm not gonna go with the first one. I'm gonna go with this one. Have you ever had a dream in which you're dreaming something and then you start hearing a sound in real life, and then that sound is like transmitted into your dream? Um, I have several times. Like, oh my gosh, you have no idea. And out of all my dreams, a couple that have like stayed with me because they wake me up very abruptly, and it lingers afterwards. I've had several of those, but the ones that, I'll pick one of the not so out there dreams. For some reason, I'm a bomb technician and I'm defusing this bomb, and it's the most ginormous bomb you've ever seen. It's kind of like the size of a room, and there's like 10 minutes left, so I got plenty of time, and I'm going slowly, and then all of a sudden, beep 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 beep, and I'm looking at the bomb, and then all of a sudden it's like I triggered something, and the timer is going really fast. Beep 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 beep, and I'm like, oh no, what do I do? What do I do? And I start panicking, and I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta fix this. I gotta fix this. And I managed to successfully stop the timer, but it's still going off. Beep 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 beep. And then I just wake up because I think I died or not. I'm not sure, but I wake up and it's the stupid alarm clock going beep 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 beep. So these are things that have happened to me. Now in Ruby's case, the reason I'm sharing this experience with you is because in Ruby's case, it's more like she got stuck in one thing. John, John, John versus okay, let's begin. Shield up. She didn't get stuck in a voice line or a sentence. She got stuck in a word. Now, personally, I haven't had this happen. I don't get stuck in a word unless that word is repeating itself. Maybe a sound. Beep, 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 beep. Um, Somebody hammering. Cock, 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 cock. You know? But if somebody's talking, like somebody's having a conversation, I will probably dream of a conversation in a distance of two people talking, and I can't quite make out what they're saying, but I hear the background noise of their voices. So I can't quite make the connection here with Ruby that that's the case of what's happening with her. Now, she wakes up concerned, or maybe it was Pierre's voice that triggered this particular reoccurring voice in her dream. But also Ruby dreams weird. She dreams in black and sparkles all around. Um, so that's interesting in a way. There's no images, there's no visualization. There's just black and sparkles around, or yeah, sparks of light. So that's interesting. That's something to look to consider, or not consider, but keep in mind. So she wakes up, she catches John training, she gets a little bit heartfelt, and I was there too in a way, sharing the surge of emotions that of what's happening, and 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 it really sent it over the edge when it's the unspoken feeling of Pyrrha. You know, part of me inside is screaming that she just wanted to say, I don't know, I love you, or you mean a lot to me. But at the same time, she held back because she was recording a message to him about his training. She didn't want to be weirding him out, because if I were to take a guess, this was way before the dance when they started practicing with each other. And at that point, there wasn't really anything stated, you know? So that's why she kind of like reserved herself. If I were to take a guess, that's where I put the time frame of this incident, of this recording. Um, yeah. So let's talk about Weiss and what appears to be her brother, the father, the mother, the butler, and James. Now let's talk about this for a moment. In the last episode, the butler comes in and says that your father wishes to see you or speak to you, one of both. And she says thank you, and she gets up and she starts walking. The longest walk in the history of houses. My gosh, that took forever for her to reach her father's quarters. Now, That basically tells me that the house is huge. um, so there's that. And then she meets her brother. Names! I'm sorry if I get this wrong, but I'm deciding between Wheatley and Weasley. I don't know why. But those are the two that I think I'm close. I'm onto something there. Wheatley or Weasley, one of both. Um, or maybe it's none of them, but that's what I got. So, at first, at first, he seemed kind, but based on the interaction with Weiss, on her description of him, of how he used to be, I don't know, I get this really uneasy feeling about him in which he's not really showing who he really is deep down. He says things like, I've grown since the last time, or since you've been gone, I've grown. He tries to warn her about father being angry and a man asking to see her. Um, I don't know. It's the reason it feels uncomfortable to me is because it's not affectionate. It's like there's this wall here, but we can still talk through it, but there's a wall between us. How nice to see you out of your room for a change. I don't know, that opening sentence, it's like it expresses a nice thought, but it's not nice. I don't know if I can explain myself. It's not sincere. It's pointing something out. Yes, it's true, probably, but it's not sincere or genuine concern. It's just like an offhand comment. How nice to see you out of your room for a change. It doesn't sit well. And he tries to warn her. Weiss kind of picks up on this, and she's like, "You seem different." And he's like, "Well, since you've been gone, I've grown." And he makes a comparison to Winter. Weiss points out, "But you never liked Winter." And he's like, "Yeah, but you have to admire her resolve," I think it was what he said. And then Weiss is kind of like, she's not stunned, but caught off guard. That she's kind of like left like, I don't know what to make of this. Perhaps since she returned to her house, she hasn't really seen her brother up until now. If that's the case, maybe that's the first interaction that we witness, and that's why she was caught off guard. Um, and then let's talk about that portrait. Let's talk about that picture on the wall. Let me tell you something. If you really pay attention to this picture, you can sort of have an idea of what's going on. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot something really important. During the conversation between Weiss and her brother, when the brother says that he heard father arguing, Weiss asked, "With mother?" And he replied, "No, she's already drinking in the garden." Now, now, what this tells us at this point in time is that the relationship between their parents is a fragmented one. Because, for starters, household arguments between the parents apparently are a common thing. So there's already a fragmentation. Secondly, if the children are aware that the mother is already drinking in the garden, which means that it's a pattern, then clearly it's something that is reoccurring, like I said, a pattern, and it's signs of, unfortunately, a little bit of a dark undertone here. The mother is probably an alcoholic. And basically, the definition of an alcoholic is somebody who has a pattern of drinking and affects others. That would be the definition of an alcoholic. If you want to be really literal definition wise about it. So, why has the mother become like this? Perhaps it is to numb herself from her responsibilities as a mother, from her duties, from her position in life right now. She might be unhappy. She might not want to deal with anything, so she just goes to the garden and drinks herself away. Every now and then, whenever she might interact with her husband or with father, it's not a pleasant interaction. It might always end up in argument. Why? I'm not sure at this point, but she's not as involved in the family. So that point was something I forgot to mention. Now, going back to the portrait, the family portrait, for starters, we confirm or we reinforce what I just said. Uh, right. Okay. So for start, yeah, I'm trying to remember the picture. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So we confirm. Well, not really confirm. How do I express this? You have the three children, right? You have Weiss on his, if you flip it around and you call it for what it is, his left, our right. Weiss is there. Winter, as a young child, Weiss is young. Winter is young as well. Is on his right, our left, and they have miserable faces. They have these faces that they're upset. All right. But the son, which is in the middle, he seems, or his face is that of a face of like contempt. Like he's not happy. He's not like, yeah. He's like, hmm. I don't know how to call that expression, but he's like, hmm. And it makes me feel, because let me jump ahead really quick. On the father's desk, there's a picture of only the son. There are no other pictures of the other children. Because when we see the angle from the father's desk that shows the rest of the office, when Weiss is in the room, on the desk we see a picture of the son, but we don't see any other pictures of anybody else. So clearly, this tells me that the boy is the father's favorite. Perhaps because he's a boy? Maybe. Um, Not sure of the details here yet, but clearly the boy is the favorite. Now, hmm, I wonder why the two daughters looked so miserable in the picture, or displeased. There was something going on. Maybe they had it rough growing up, or maybe they had such high standards, because we can kind of pick up on it when Weiss comes into the office and the father is like, "Did you forget your manners while you were away?" The expectations. Oh man, and I'm just, yeah. Oh man, I'm just remembering all the songs of Weiss. Mirror Mirror, and then Mirror Mirror 2. And there was another one. Yeah. What was the Volume 3 one? The Volume 3 one was, I don't, I might be messing up the name here, but I haven't really heard that much the Volume 3 songs. But Mirror Mirror was in Volume 1. Mirror Mirror Part 2 was in Volume 2, in which it's, okay, wow, okay, hold on. Let me build something here with this, because this is important for me. I think this is really critical here. Mirror Mirror talks about um tell me something. Tell me who's the loneliest of all. Mirror, tell me if I can. Where's the phone? The phone. There. Can a heart turn to stone? Can I get cold? That was the first part of Mirror Mirror. And the second one is, who am I to complain? My life been spared so much pain. Mirror, mirror, mirror. Uh, tell me something. How can I stop the fall? And then in the end, it ends by saying, I'll tell you something. Maybe I will change it all. All right. And then in volume 3, there's a third song for Weiss, in which said, oh, what was it? I think, oh man, I'm having a hard time pulling up these lyrics, but I think it's the one that goes, it's my turn. And what a shame that you came around and told me that my dreams won't come true. Have you no shame? Yeah, that one. So it's an evolving state of voice, what we're experiencing with these songs and what we're watching. Now, clearly, Weiss's father has this very strong grip power, if you want to call it. He has this very strong control. That's the best word to use here. Control. He has this very strong control over Weiss. Now, he proposed a great idea, if you think about it, a really good idea in which to show the kingdom or the world that, the Schnee Dust Company, Atlas, cares about what happened in Beacon. Fantastic idea. Hold a charity. Was it a charity? A dinner charity? Yeah, that's what it was. A concert charity, dinner, buffet, whatever you want to call it. An event, a gathering. So he wants to hold this, and he wants Weiss to sing, but he doesn't ask. He says it would be really nice. People would really enjoy it. He kind of like puts pressure. So he kind of like pushes and guides her with his hand in the direction that he wants. This, of course, clearly is something that is happening the entire life, because we kind of like seen it before as well. When the dad is calling and she doesn't pick up, and then moments later her card gets whack declined, and when they're trying to eat, so clearly he's very controlling, very manipulative, and it's happening here. He's not too forceful, he's just really suave in a way. He doesn't say it straight, he says it coercedly in an angle that forces people to kind of like do what he wants them to do. Now, so that happened in the office. Atlas Academy is apparently getting ready to reopen. James invites her back to Atlas Academy, says that you always have a home there because, I get it. Your father is a pineapple. That's where she gets it from. No, I'm kidding. This is a different kind of pineapple. But it ends there. And then we see the butler. Now, the butler had split personalities. And very interestingly enough, the split personalities came with a different set of eyes. Now, at first, I thought it was just a graphical representation, but when his attitude became one that was soft and gentle, his eyes were blue. I'm guessing the amber color is the neutral stance, and red is the spicy attitude, where he doesn't care about what he's saying and he says things unfiltered. And maybe it's angry or maybe it's intense. I don't know the exact personality, but unfiltered, red, gentle and kind, blue, neutral, a bit of both, amber. And I think that's it. So, okay, that's been over an hour. So let's leave it here. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate all your support and everything that you do. You guys are awesome. You really are. And thank you. So until next time, take care and bye-bye.
ふわふわふわふわふわふわりくるくるくるくるくるくる回るのふわふわふよふよふわふわりうるるくるくるふわふわ飛び出したの